Hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing great. My name is Hamza Baig. I am a student of Mac in University of Windsor.
And hi everyone, I'm Vivek Verma. I'm pursuing Master of Applied Computing at University of Windsor, Fall Intake 2022.
So today we will be presenting on a topic which is very much discussed in the industry, which is software engineers versus software development and what is the industry's real need. Software is a complex process from idea generation to elicitation to design, development, testing, production, maintenance, and finally its end of life. We have some practical, some professional experience, but the theoretical aspects we have gained from the master's curriculum made us wonder about a few fundamental aspects of software lifecycle.
And for this, we reached out to a software development engineer 2 professional from Amazon. Her name is Anshi, and she kindly agreed to speak with us and answer our queries. So, software developers and software engineers are both professionals and important cogs of the wheel in the software lifecycle. But often the roles are utilized interchangeably, and which, however, theoretically it's incorrect, as though software engineers are software developers, but the reverse is not always true.
So, software engineering apply principles of engineering for solving problems. They think on larger scales, along with interacting with almost the entire chain of project users involved. Uh, such as stakeholders, developers, testers, etc. And due to this, they possess a wide knowledge base from programming languages, algorithms, scalability to system engineering and other aspects. Software developers, on the other hand, possess the skills and knowledge to write, test, and maintain a working code base to achieve the objectives set forth in the requirements statement. In one way, they are the actual worker bees who go on ground and bring the design into existence.
So, starting with a list of questions, the first question which we asked her was her take on this high level theoretical classification, which we just laid out. And to this, her response was that at Amazon, at the company which she's working at, there's no such explicit classification. And as her role states, it's an SDE role, which means it's a software development engineer role. So the idea there is that there's one person who's going to own it end to end, and there's no such separate classification as a software engineer or a software developer.
So the next question that we asked her was, in her capacity, what are the challenges faced by uh, both the roles? So to which she answered that if we consider both roles to be separate in the life cycle, the software engineer and software developer to be separate, then they both face different sorts of problems. The software engineers basically collect requirements and make sure that the production deployments are done successfully. And the problems they face may be uh, regarding the requirements. The requirements must be correctly captured, the design documents to be reviewed by the right set of people. Production deployments are set out in different phases such that the entire product doesn't go down in the single go. And the problems faced by software developers will be related to code, basically coding related problems such as actually turning the design into code, enough test coverage in terms of unit and integration testing, making sure the pipelines are set out correctly, making sure that they are able to debug the code locally, alpha, beta, gamma phases in life cycle of the product must be ensured.
So carrying on with our line of questions, our next question was that has there ever been any situation in which the developers were not able to develop the design into the code? And to this, her response was that yes, it's a very common thing which happens. And there could be multiple reasons to it. It's because of like not having enough time to review the design properly, or if we have stricter deadlines or unavailability of the senior engineer within the team, and the design has not been through multiple iterations, and because of that, it completely derails the progress of the project. And so one mitigation step is to make sure that The design docs have been reviewed multiple times and has been through multiple iterations, and almost all the questions of the engineers and the developers gets answered, so that any outstanding questions or issues about the functionality or anything or the design is upfront solved. So yeah, and the steps which she said to guide them to rectify or get to correct the process was to review the design more critically and get it reviewed by multiple principal engineers and get the involvement from the people who are actually going to be involved in the coding, and not just superficially that a high level person is designing something but they don't have the actual touch with what's going to be in the reality. And apart from that, get multiple alternate arrangements as well and have the requirements and clarifications stated very clearly.
We also asked her, does she think it is possible to eradicate the software practices and still be able to create a software? To which she simply replied, no. She doesn't think that the software can be made without the practices of software engineering applied because the quality of the software won't be up to mark. Let's say the review step is skipped, or the unit testing or integration testing is skipped, the beta gamma testing is skipped, will end up breaking the code even more so than usual amount. This has been a problem in her previous projects as well that she encountered.
So next up was the question that what's the most important job of a software engineer and a software developer? Can we say that the software developer is only responsible for the code base and the quality of the code and maintainability of the code, whereas the software engineer is just responsible for the overall project, whether the requirements are captured correctly, the designs conform with the requirements, and the end product meets the user needs or not? To this, her answer was that in Amazon, the profile is a software development engineer role. So again, as previously stated, it's not a clear distinction. So therefore, the SDE is responsible for the entire project from start to end, which consists of capturing the requirements correctly from the project manager, completing a design document, getting it reviewed by the senior principal engineers, giving out dates for the implementation, writing the code, making sure the code is reviewed, making sure the code is modular, maintainable, and has complete test coverage, and is being tested in multiple forms, like in various pipelines, uh, be it local debug session to the Gamma session before being pushed to production.
We also asked her which one is more responsible for the success of a project, to which she replied that the project manager, software engineer, and the principal engineer are all responsible for a successful project. The requirements need to be captured correctly. Engineers need to be very sure on what can be fulfilled and which cannot be done, and what can be the stretch goals for the project. Principal engineers review the design documentation and they list out any issues that they see which could uh, result in a blockage. And we also continued with another question. We asked which one is to be blamed if the project doesn't work or the product doesn't fulfill the needs of the user. To which she replied that the blame is going to be uh, the blame is going to be on everyone. It basically depends on what went wrong. If the requirements and needs were captured correctly, but the communication gap between the program manager and the software development engineer, then the blame is on both of them. But it is subjective in nature. So after carefully analyzing the practical inputs and the theoretical knowledge that we gained, we have come to a conclusion that uh, it isn't a hard and fast rule having the software engineer and the software developer being the same individual or different individuals. It really depends on the architecture or the methodology of the company.
And to finally wrap it up, we come to our main question again, that software engineers or software developers, what does the industry really need? Uh, it's not a black and white answer, it's not a binary answer. It is really subjective and it depends on the team, the company, the philosophy which they're following, If it works for them to unilateralize them, like Amazon is doing, and it is quite successful at doing it, it works for them. But many companies have specialized rules for them. So we believe that really it's subjective and it depends on the management. Thank you.